Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most secretive and shocking chapters in British military history: the nuclear weapons tests carried out on British troops in the 1950s and 1960s. The year is 1952. World War II is over, but the world is far from peaceful. The Cold War is heating up, and two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, are building huge arsenals of nuclear weapons. Britain, once a global superpower, is determined not to be left behind. The government, led by Prime Minister Winston Churchill, decides that Britain must have its own atomic bomb, no matter the cost. Britain's first atomic bomb test, codenamed Operation Hurricane, takes place in October 1952 on the Montebello Islands, off the coast of Australia. The bomb is set off inside a ship, the HMS Plym, anchored in a shallow lagoon. The explosion is enormous. A mushroom cloud rises into the sky, and the shockwave is felt for miles. This test is just the beginning. Over the next decade, Britain conducts dozens more nuclear tests, not just in Australia, but also in the Pacific, on islands like Christmas Island and Maldon Island. Who took part in these tests? Around 21,000 British servicemen, sailors, soldiers, and airmen were sent to these remote locations. These men were told they were helping to keep Britain safe. Many of them were just teenagers or young adults, eager to serve their country. Some were ordered to stand just a few miles from the blast. Others were told to walk or drive across the test sites just hours after the bombs went off. Some even flew planes through the radioactive clouds to collect samples. Life at the test sites was harsh. The men lived in basic camps, often in the middle of the desert or on tiny islands. Many of the men had no idea what to expect. They were given little information about the dangers of radiation. Some were told to wear sunglasses to protect their eyes, but nothing more. One veteran, John Morris, remembers, "We were told it was safe. We trusted our officers. We had no idea what we were being exposed to." After returning home, many of the soldiers started to notice strange health problems. Some developed cancers, leukemia, stomach, lung, and prostate cancer. Others suffered from heart disease, skin problems, and even brain tumors. The problems didn't stop with the soldiers. Many of their children and grandchildren were born with birth defects or serious illnesses. One family tells the story of their son who was born with severe disabilities. "We never knew why until we learned about the tests," they say. It wasn't just British soldiers who were affected. Indigenous communities in Australia and the Pacific were also exposed to radiation. These communities were not warned about the tests. Many were forced to leave their land, and some became sick from the fallout. The impact on these communities is still felt today. Many are fighting for recognition and compensation, just like the British veterans. What did the British government do when soldiers and civilians started getting sick? For decades, they denied that the tests had caused any harm. Officials insisted that the soldiers were safe and that there was no evidence of health problems. They claimed that no blood tests were carried out, even though thousands of tests were ordered and the results were hidden. Investigative journalist Susie Boniface has spent years uncovering the truth. She found evidence that the atomic weapons establishment and the Ministry of Defense misled the public and Parliament. They destroyed or hid medical records and refused to admit what had happened. For over 70 years, veterans and their families have been fighting for recognition, compensation, and the truth. Lawyers for the veterans say that the government's actions amount to negligence. They argue that the soldiers deserve an apology and proper compensation. Some veterans have received small payments, but most are still waiting for justice. The government still refuses to release all the medical records, citing national security. What is the legacy of these tests? They helped Britain become a nuclear power, but at a terrible cost. Thousands of lives affected, families torn apart, and a legacy of mistrust. The scandal is a reminder of what can happen when governments put secrecy ahead of people's lives. It's a story of courage, suffering, and the fight for truth. Today, the fight continues. Veterans and their families are still calling for a full public inquiry and proper compensation. The government has released more documents, but many questions remain unanswered. Will the veterans ever get the justice they deserve? The story of Britain's nuclear tests on its own troops is a powerful reminder of the human cost of secrets and power. It's a story that deserves to be told and remembered. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories from history. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the veterans deserve justice? Thanks for watching.